Do you feel fear? The Headless Horseman has returned, and a sunless malaise has descended upon Azeroth. Gone are the cheery commoners of Brewfest. They've been replaced with spooky skeletons and eerie figures staring at you menacingly in the distance. But you can't just have tricks without treats, too. If you can muster up the courage to participate in the newly updated Hallow's End event, you'll find it much easier and more rewarding than before. For one thing, the new RDF system makes farming the Headless Horseman for his mount take only a few minutes per day. As one of the only hybrid land-air mounts, the Horseman's Reigns mount is insanely strong with the new account-wide mount system. And then we have all the food buffs, which are perfectly timed to make your Lich King heroic progression much more manageable. But if you aren't raiding just yet, there's also the 10% experience and reputation buff that's begging you to max reps just in time for Cataclysm. That's just the tip of the witch's hat though, because the whole event is far easier and more rewarding than in past years. So let's get into what's new in this year's Hallow's End event and how to get the most out of everything. Hallow's End this year runs from October 18th all the way to November 1st. That means you have 14 days to complete the 11 surprisingly easy achievements for the Hallow's End meta achievement. If you think you aren't interested in doing that, think again. The Violet Protodrake is 310 speed and account wide. It's really the easiest mount to get to zoom through Phase 4 and Cataclysm. As always, my completely updated and fresh written guide is linked below the video with all the relevant weak Rs inside. So let's get Hallow's End started with the Headless Horseman farm. You can queue for the Headless Horseman via the random dungeon finder, and you'll even get teleported to Scarlet Monastery automatically. After killing the Horseman, you'll automatically knock out the Bring Me the Head achievement. The mount itself will have a chance to drop from the new loot bag after killing the Horseman. There's also the old Ketchup gear rings and the Baleful Blade. On top of the gear, the Sinister Squashling and the Hallowed Helm drops are the other highlights. You'll need to get these from the Horseman for the second achievement, which is the Sinister Calling achievement. One other note on the Horseman is that he's the main source of the Tricky Treats for the Out With It achievement, which is our third achievement. Just keep eating the Tricky Treats until the unthinkable happens, and then frantically try to clean up your room before anybody gets home. With the Horseman out of the way, we also have the 10% experience and reputation buff. West of the Undercity, between the hours of 8 PM and 6 AM, you can get a 2-hour 10% XP and rep buff. Horde players just have to click the pile of ashes around the Wickerman figure to get the buff. Meanwhile, Alliance have to slay and loot a Wickerman Guardian. I would definitely recommend doing Runecloth rep turn-ins with this buff to save thousands of gold in Cataclysm. Back to achievements, we can't forget the trick-or-treat portion of the event. This part of the event also conveniently gives you Bisque consumables for Icecrown Citadel. We can get started with Tricks or Treats of Azeroth, which is our fourth achievement. All we have to do is collect the candy buckets in Kalimdor, Eastern Kingdoms, and the Outlands. The candy buckets contain Bisque raid consumables like the Pyroblast Cinnamon Roll, which stacks to give up to 24 more spell power. These are always tradable, so it's highly recommended to swap them to maximize your guild performance. I'd also highly recommend the Candy Buckets weak Aura below the video. Combined with the TomTom add-on, this makes the whole process completely autopilot. There's new support for Northrend as well if you want even more raid buffs. While you trick-or-treat, you should also be talking to one innkeeper every hour to get rewards like the toothpick. With all your trick-or-treating, you can quickly complete achievements 5 through 8. Those achievements are That Sparkling Smile, Trick-or-Treat, The Masquerade, and Check Your Head. The Masquerade is the yearly wand swap. Once you've done enough trick-or-treating and have some wands, you can swap them in Dalaran to get anything you're missing. For the Check Your Head achievement, once you've gotten enough weighted jack-o'-lanterns for trick-or-treating, you'll have to find the relevant class and race combos in Dalaran. Then you throw a jack-o'-lantern on them, or alternatively make your own characters in the starter cities if you get desperate. I'm not desperate for you to subscribe, but it would be really cool. You would be joining a great community full of players that want to get the most out of their classic experience. Back to the trick-or-treating, we should have amassed a lot of nerds by now. Every 3 hours when Wintergrass pops, just queue up and eat some nerds. Then you can just stay in the back of the fight until Nerd Rage is complete and achievement number 9 is done. If you usually give up on achievements by now, snap out of it. That Violet Protodrake is gonna feel extra good in Cataclysm speeding past Deathwing. So achievement number 10 is the Stop the Fires quest, where you put out the fires in one of the 3 towns of your choice. Forming a brigade and passing the water to other players is always the best method. The much lazier tip, though, is just to go to Goldshire or Razor Hill, since they're so populated you can usually AFK and still get the quest complete. The only thing missing for your hyperspeed Violet Protodrake is Rotten Hallow. For Alliance, everything goes down in South Shore at Sergeant Hartman. Use the stink bomb cleaner he gives you on any stink bomb clouds you see in South Shore. Then ride up to Tearsfall and explore the Wickerman Festival. If you're Horde though, your questline actually starts from Darkcaller Yanka in front of the Wickerman Festival. After you pick up the quest, just fly down to Hillsbrad. Then you should head towards the South Shore Inn and then throw your 3 stink bombs. From this point, all you have to do is click the kegs in the end to sabotage them before heading back to Yanka to complete the final achievement. So now you're one step closer to your gorgeous Violet Protodrake, but all of this will be pointless if you don't have the Shadowmourne and Tier 10 gear to go with it. That's why you need to farm thousands of gold right now with my ultimate Phase 4 gold making guide. Check that guide out next.